Hello, dear children. Today we will read a very different story by Cressida Cowell. Treetop Twins Wilderness Adventures, and the name of the story is The Twins Meet a Quagga. You know, children, this treetop family is very interesting. The treetop family has invented a time machine that can also travel underwater, across snow and ice, through jungles and plains to study amazing animals, past and present. Come with them on their wilderness adventure. Let's start the story. Treetop Twins Wilderness Adventures. The twins meet a quagga. The sun beat down on the sizzling savannah, and the grasses hummed with busy insects. The Treetop family have taken their time machine and travelled back in time to the 18th century, to the grasslands of South Africa. One bright blue day, the big twins, Alfie and Asha, were looking after the little twins, Tulip and Ted. Their parents, Professor Pablo and Professor Penelope, were taking a nap. When the professors woke up, the Treetop family were going to spend the evening at a nearby water hole to see what animals were living in the African savannah at that time. "There'll be cheetahs," said Asha. "And ostriches," said Alfie. "And lions and elephants," said Ted. "And don't forget the unicorns," said Tulip. "Don't be silly," laughed Ted. "Only babies believe in unicorns." Alfie and Asha were laughing too, which made Tulip very upset. "I'll show them I'm not a baby," said Tulip to herself. "I'll go down to the water hole and look for unicorns on my own." So when the others weren't looking, Tulip decided to walk to the water hole by herself. She found a hill to hide behind and ducked down out of sight. From her hiding place, she spotted an ostrich and a wildebeest and a herd of creatures she had never seen before. Tulip couldn't see them properly because there were some trees in the way. From the side, they looked a little bit like horses, but they were much smaller. So they must be unicorns, said Tulip triumphantly. "I knew it." Meanwhile, Alfie and Asha and Ted had noticed that Tulip was missing. They woke up Professor Penelope and Professor Pablo, and they all hurried to the water hole. They crept up very quietly so as not to disturb the animals and peered over Tulip's shoulder. "I'm sorry I called you a baby," whispered Ted. "And I'm sorry I ran off without telling you where I was going," whispered Tulip. "But look, I did find some unicorns." Just then, one of the strange creatures turned towards them, and it did not have a horn. "Oh," said Tulip, feeling very disappointed. "It isn't a unicorn after all." But it did have something else interesting. It had stripes, but not all over it, just on its front half. "It's a quagga," said Professor Penelope. "It's about the size of a zebra, but with stripes only on the front half of its body." "Why is it called a quagga?" asked Tulip. The quagga opened its mouth and made a noise. "Quagga!" "That must be why," grinned Ted. But the quagga had made that noise for a reason. there were three beautiful golden lionesses padding towards the waterhole.
Quagga, quagga, quagga.
The lionesses prowled closer, but the quaggas had already been alerted.
Quagga,
They cried as they all ran away. All except for one, a baby, who couldn't run quite fast enough. "Oh no!" cried Tulip. "They are going to catch it." But then something amazing happened. A great big wild beast saw the baby quagga was in trouble. It stepped forward and shook its enormous horns at the lionesses. The lionesses were scared, and now it was their turn to run away. "Phew!" said Alfie. "Why did that big wild beast save the baby quagga?" "We all have to look after the babies, even if they aren't ours," said Asha, putting her arm around Tulip. "I'm not a baby," said Tulip, but she smiled and hugged Asha anyway. And then the Treetop family walked back home through the cooling grass for dinner. Night time in the savannah. Professor Pablo was putting the twins to bed. "I'm so glad we got to travel back in time and meet the quaggas," said Asha, who had drawn a picture of one in her notebook. "Me too," said Professor Pablo, turning the light off. "Sorry, it wasn't a unicorn, Tulip, but it was almost as good." "I wonder what year and what place we'd have to travel to see a unicorn," said Tulip to herself. "One day I'll find a unicorn. Just you wait and see." The end. I hope, children, you all enjoyed this amazing story and we got to know about quaggas. Now, some amazing facts about quaggas. The quagga was about the size of a zebra, but only had stripes on the front half of its body. Quaggas lived up until the late 19th century on the plains of South Africa. The quaggas' name may have come from the noise they make, quagga. If you really enjoyed it, children, do share it with your friends and family. Do hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. We will be back with another story soon. Until then, bye bye and happy reading.